Hey guys, Tony here. Back. I didn't mean to be away as long as I have, but I'm back, and I wanted to come on here and finally make a video. It's been tough finding the time to do it, and I admit I've attempted this video a few times, and it just never works out. I think I just attempt at showing too much, and it gets out of control. Um, but yeah, the reason why it's been so hard is because I've found the new job, which I'm thrilled about. I've been there for about a month now, and it's been going good. So I'm happy about it. I like it a lot more than my last job. Let's put it that way. Um, yeah, but my commute is longer, and I got to be there earlier actually too. So as you can imagine, I got to get to bed early to wake up early. So the time I have during the week, especially, is almost nil. To make a video when everybody's asleep. And during the week, on the weekends is usually the time I would do it. But if I don't have something else going on, a lot of times I don't feel like it. It's just how it is. I feel really out of the loop as far as the vinyl community goes, and I'd like to be more involved. It's just the way it is. I mean, having two kids and all that, it's just it's not easy. But I'll do what I can. I mean, see how it goes. But anyway, I've been behind on showing records for a while now. My last video, actually, I still had a ton more that I hadn't shown yet. So, what I did was I made a pile to show, and I've actually saved a whole bunch. A number of grails, too, which I'm going to save for my next video. So, at least something to look forward to, and I'll try and do that really soon because there's a number of things I got, I kind of just want to share with you guys because I've had them for a while and I'm just excited about owning them. A lot of good luck lately. It seems that when winter ends and it starts getting warmer, there's the luck changes. There's a lot more records around. It seems like, but anyway, let me get started here. So while I did save, like I said, most of the really interesting stuff for next time, there's still some really cool stuff here I'm going to show. So anyway, I'll get started. This one I've had for a while. It's a reissue, an early Sundays reissue, like maybe, I don't know, maybe one of the first. I have no idea. But a 1996 Sundays reissue. I'm sure a lot of you guys know this album. But the Bow Street Runners, I want to say this came out in like 1970. And I think these guys are from like South Carolina. Very much like along the lines of a Jefferson Airplane. But a really fantastic album. I don't know who originally put this out. BT Puppy Records, so some little label or private press or something. God only knows what originals of this go for. But yeah, I bought this used and fantastic. I've seen it around a lot, but never really checked it out. But definitely glad I picked it up. Great psych record, psych folk rock record, that sort of thing. Excuse me, the band Goat. If you have not checked out Goat, their album World Music came out a couple years ago. I highly recommend it. I mean, I just love the band. Their sound is like, just an excellent mixture of, psych rock with like funk and, world music elements. It's just a great band for my taste. And I picked up their live album, Goat. So what this is essentially is the album World Music done live. So it's on a 2 LP set. So they have more room to sort of stretch out and jam a little bit and just basically like crazier versions of the songs on World Music, And if you're a fan, it's worth picking up, that's for sure. It's on Rocket Records, just a plain black vinyl version. I don't know if there's probably colored versions out there, but yeah, really nice. Great band. What else? I guess I'll show these two. What the hell? Like everybody else, I'm not even going to talk about it, but like everybody else, I did pick up the new Mogwai Rave Tapes. Good album. I probably liked their last one, Hardcore Will Never Die, But You Will, more, but still a good effort by them. And yes, I did pick up the new Beck album when it came out, Morning Phase. Good album. I like it quite a bit. I still have to listen to this more, and I've just had so much to listen to. I probably listened to it twice all the way through, and I enjoy it. I'm definitely glad I picked it up. But definitely gonna spin it some more. Yeah, not much to say there that hasn't already been said. Bobby Humphrey, Satin Doll, and Blue Note. This was sealed when I bought it. It has this awful saw cut, but it was sealed, so I kind of made up for it. It was like $6 or something, you know. Just as good as Blacks and Blues, in my opinion. Bobby Humphrey, of course, the female jazz flautist, singer, just an amazing artist, really, and definitely deserves to be checked out if you haven't listened to her yet. But yeah, Satin Doll, Blue Note, great stuff, soul jazz. Finally picked up a copy of Gita by Charles Lloyd. Now, there isn't much by Charles Lloyd that I've heard that I have not liked. Just about everything that he's done is at least interesting. Immediately, the Moon Man record comes to mind. It's like it's probably considered jazz fusion, but it's very much a rock album, and with like sort of rock vocals too. And it's not a bad album for what it is. It's just strange for him. Now, this is totally different. This is like jazz fusion with different strong world music elements throughout, and of course it has the sort of famous Stones medley, which they do a number of Stones songs in a medley. Backstreet Girl, Lady Jane, and Mother's Little Helper. Now these are just far from your typical Stones covers, but still an excellent album. What year did this come out? I can't even tell you, to be honest. In the 70s, But yeah, Gita. Sun Ra reissue. Soul Vibrations of Man. This is a really good one. Again, you kind of can't go wrong. If you like Sun Ra, you're going to like most of his stuff, I imagine. And this is a good one for sure. I don't know what year this one came out either, but usually the dates were wrong anyway on them. So, good reissue of that. This one is still sealed. I have a few things that are actually still sealed, but I figured I'd show it. Now, this is cheesy as hell, and it was $5, still sealed. And I knew what it was before I picked it up. Well, I checked it out before I picked it up, I should say. I checked it out online real quick, and it's sort of cheesy 60s pop, But again, I like the cover. It was $5, still sealed. And I figured at the very least I could probably get rid of it if I really hate it. But I haven't opened it yet. And that is a Central Nervous System with I could have danced all night. Thinking of the Electric Prunes. Yeah, it's a cool looking cover, but while I have not heard the whole album, what I did here was sort of cheesy 60s pop, but I figured what the hell, I picked up a number of things still sealed, far more interesting than that, which a lot of it's in my next video. So anyway, a Sacred Bones album, Marissa Nadler with July. Fantastic. Singer-songwriter out of Boston. Enchanting is the word that comes to mind with this. Just a beautiful, ethereal sort of, folk music. It's just beautiful. And a really nice album by her. Came out this year, 2014. What else? Greckin Moncor III has come up a few times recently in the VC. And when he did, I forgot that I'd never shown this, and I picked this up almost a year ago, probably over the summer. Teddy's back. He made a video. I'm sure as a lot of you know. And he showed New Africa on by Greckin Moncor III on Actuel. This is his second Actuel release. One morning I waked up very early. So again, he is a trombonist, and when I think trombone, I don't think free jazz, Yeah, I think swing and Dixieland, but he pulls it off really well. Now, this is probably one of the more listenable, toned down, like free jazz on the Actuel label. But it's excellent. But this is a reissue. I picked it up for a few bucks over the summer, maybe like $8 or something. But yeah, it's like new pretty much. Who's on here? Nobody I really know off the top of my head here, but yeah, Greckin Moncor III. And Fred showed this too. And when he showed it, I commented and said, I had that in my hands the other day and I didn't buy it. But I went back and it was still there. Now, the label Heavenly Sweetness, I don't know if they're a French label, have been reissuing some really good Blue Note LPs. And this is one, Greckin Moncor III, with some other stuff. Now, look. That lineup. Wayne Shorter, Herbie Hancock, Cecil McBee, and Anthony Williams. Could there be a better lineup? Just excellent. And again, along the same lines, maybe not quite as free, but yeah, just an excellent album on Blue Note, and happy to get it. Now, this is definitely one of the best reissues from last year, and I've had this for quite a while. I've listened to this a number of times, and I absolutely love it. Electronic, repetitive, but just fantastic. I don't even know how to describe it better than that, but it is just incredible. Craig Leon with Nomos. This originally came out on Bill Fahey's Tacoma label. This is a reissue on Superior Viaduct, and Superior Viaduct are putting out some excellent reissues, and this is no exception. I'd love a reissue of this, but yeah, this is excellent. If you haven't checked this out yet, highly recommend it. He's mostly known as a producer. He produced Suicide, the band Suicide. But yeah, excellent. Another one I gotta thank Fred for. Simon Finn, Past the Distance. Psych folk, freak folk. This was an obscure classic of Fred's from a while back, and I've kind of wanted it since then. I checked it out a long time ago when he showed it, and I've wanted it since then. And like the reissues, like that Fred has, even were out of print and expensive, and they've just repressed it again, 500 only. Excellent. I believe he's British, out of the UK. Quirky. This is like a freak folk, psych folk, sort of oddball record, and it's excellent. I love it. 500 only reissue on Little Big Chief, which I don't know if they did that original reissue. Probably not. I think this is a U.S. label, but yeah, excellent. 500 only, so don't sleep on it, and don't drop it on the floor. Anyway, moving on. Another comp on Sacred Bones. Killed by Death Rock Volume 1. Killer. Absolutely killer. If you are into Joy Division, New Order, sort of dark post-punk sound with, sort of electronics on there and stuff like that, excellent. Do pick this up. This is just an incredible comp. All sort of obscure bands that probably didn't put out an album, maybe just a single. But yeah, highly recommended. What else? This was a nice surprise. Zebra by Jack DeJohnette featuring Lester Bowie on drums. So what you have here is Lester Bowie on trumpet solo. So you have Jack DeJohnette doing electronics. He's playing synthesizers on here. And Lester Bowie, of course, playing trumpet solo over on some of the tracks. Excellent. Highly, highly recommended. If you see this, don't hesitate, because it really is that good. But yeah, it's just the two of them on there. It's a promo copy from 1980. We've recorded in 1986, and this is like 1989. It came out on vinyl, or it finally came out in 1989, something like that. An original U.S. pressing of Karlheinz Stockhausen, Ceylon, Birds of Passage. Stockhausen, of course, the experimental composer. Now, this is definitely not everyday listening, but I just couldn't leave it. An original of this. I'd seen a reissue of this maybe 2 years back, and it was a lot of money. But nice to come across an original for cheap, And yeah, U.S. pressing on Chrysalis. I'll show you the label real quick. But yeah, very obviously experimental, modern, classical, probably the best way to describe it. Yeah, Stockhausen. This has come up a number of times in the VC lately. I picked this up a while ago. Sam Rivers, The Quest. Found this locally. And I've since actually seen a reissue of this too. Just a sort of cheap reissue of it. I don't know if it just came out or what, but it wasn't a gatefold. Originals are a gatefold. And excellent free jazz album by Sam Rivers. Yeah, killer. What else we got here? This one I just couldn't leave. It's sort of a standard like hard bop jazz album, and loved the cover and everything. I just couldn't leave it. But this is the Elmo Hope Ensemble with sounds from Rikers Island. This is an original, still in the shrink, on the Audio Fidelity label. Those features Philly Joe Jones, and it also has what's his name? I'm blanking here. John Gilmore. John Gilmore, yeah, I think. Yeah, from the Sun Ra Orchestra. He's on here as well. But this is, very far from Sun Ra. But still, a really cool record. Stereo copy, I believe from 1963. But yeah, an original German pressing, green brain pressing of Ypsilon in Malaysian Pale by Edgar Froese. Found this locally. The thing is near mint, pretty much, you know. Beautiful album. Really happy to score this. Not the rarest thing in the world, but nice to score an original Green Brain of the. This was also a nice surprise. Like blown away by this. But this is Oliver Nelson in the Berlin Dream Band. So I don't know if it's actually called. What is it called? Berlin Dialogue for Orchestra. I was thinking it might have been called Impressions of Berlin, but yeah, excellent large band, almost third stream at times. They go off into some pretty interesting places on here, and it's on Flying Dutchman. Beautiful cover, huh? I love it. But yeah, what year was this? 1971. Yeah, excellent. What else we got? This is an oddball record. I just couldn't leave it. I passed on it at a record show a while back, and the same record show came back again, and the seller still had it. But Bill Cosby talks to kids about drugs. Yeah, I couldn't leave it. It's exactly that. It's Bill Cosby talking to kids about drugs. It's really strange. There's music, there's songs on there, and sort of weird sound effects and things, and definitely a cool piece to have. And it's on the Uni label. Yeah, happy to have that. He was asking 30, but I got it for less than that. So not one you see every day either. Picked up a copy of Spy vs. Spy by John Zorn. So John Zorn doing the music for Ornette Coleman. So yeah, real short, sort of bursts of these songs by Ornette Coleman. There's like, I don't know, there's probably like 20 tracks on here almost. Little less than that, but very much a sort of 80s rock production. Like the drums are really loud and out front in a way, and but yeah, it's John Zorn, so it's just sort of his thing, with these short tracks. But yeah, happy to score that. It's on the Elektra Musicians label. Bought this when I was in New York for the Neil Young concert, so I've had this for a while. Stanley Caldwell with Brilliant Circles, German press. Excuse me. And it's on the, what the hell is the name of this label? What's the name of it? It's Arista Freedom, but it's on the, what the hell? Spiegeli? How the hell do you say this name of this label? But yeah, really cool German pressing and a fantastic record. Recorded in summer of '69 in New York. And in liner notes, they talk about how, like, the vibe of New York at that time with the Heat and the Mets winning the World Series, and how that sort of vibe is probably captured on this session. It's a really fantastic record. Cover's usually different on this. But yeah, great Stanley Caldwell. This is a really interesting piece. It might have been a radio promo only piece, but Weldon Irvine with Live in Nashville, April 3rd, 1999. So yeah, Weldon Irvine, jazz musician, and he was sampled to death, by a number of hip hop artists, and so they invited him to this sort of hip hop festival to headline it in Nashville, and he didn't really know what to make of that at the time. I guess he was worried about how it would be going to Nashville for this hip hop festival for this radio station. It was some kind of benefit. Ultimate Breaks and Beats benefit, 1999. Anyway, really, I think this was for radio only. There's only 3 tracks on it, but it's excellent. 3. It was still sealed when I bought it too. So yeah, happy to score that. Love to find more by him, but it's just his originals are super rare. This is an original. I have a reissue, but I'm gonna pass the reissue on to somebody. But an original of Head by the Monkees, and yeah, it's still in the shrink. Usually this is Ringworn to Hell, and but this one's beautiful. It's on the Cold Gems label. It's like new. Yeah, it's still in the shrink. For $12, I figured, what the hell? It's a cool record. If you haven't seen the movie, check it out. Really odd. An original Blue Note here of Horace Silver Quintet. Excuse me. I have a number of other original Blue Notes, which I'll be showing soon, but Yeah, nice jazz album. You know, nice. When you see original Blue Note, it's hard to pass up. But um, sort of a hard bop. But this is something else completely. Kayawada. So again, I have a reissue of this, but this was like $6. It's the second pressing. The cover is just worn to hell. It's still there's no splits, but there's a lot of edge wear. But this is the second pressing on the Trip Jazz label. I believe first pressings are on the OB Productions label. But an incredible record. One I picked up the reissue and just fell in love with it. Has the Heath brothers, Buster Williams, Don Cherry, Herbie Hancock, Ed Blackwell. An incredible spiritual, African vibe jazz record. There's an incredible session there. Glad to find that. This was also an awesome find. Jim Sullivan. Now, if you know Jim Sullivan from the album UFO, which Light in the Attic reissued, this is his second album on the Playboy label. So yeah, Jim Sullivan, who disappeared in the desert, New Mexico. On the Playboy label. This was a library copy, which nobody took this thing out because the vinyl looks unplayed. But I never see anything on the Playboy label. I don't know how many releases they had. It is a die-cut cover. This pulls out. But it did have the library card holder, which I cut off. This pulls out. Jim Sullivan, and yeah, it's the inner sleeve. But yeah, a lot of the songs from, a few of the songs from UFO were re-recorded for this. UFO is probably a little bit better mainly because of the session musicians. The Wrecking Crew were on UFO. Oddly enough, I mean that was a privately pressed record, and somehow they got the Wrecking Crew to play on it. But yeah, Jim Sullivan, his second album, just awesome. Glad to find that. This is a really interesting space rock album. So yeah, it's from the 80s. The band is called Rock and Roll. So RACAN Row ROW. Yeah, it's instrumental space rock where they jammy as hell, and they go into some sort of free jazz territory with it. But it's space rock, and it predates sort of the space rock revival that happened a little later. Private press. I believe this is the second pressing they did of it, though. And love that cover. It's just beautiful, huh? That sort of finish on the cover. And this is pasted on, and that's pasted on. But yeah, the U.S. Rock and Roll, excellent. George Duke. I've had this for quite a while now too. On MPS, very much a proggy sounding album, like very progressive. It's just a trio. George Duke, of course, mostly known as a jazz and funk keyboardist, played with Zappa. But yeah, this one, just incredible. Not what I expected. Like, it's just really sort of proggy at times. And awesome. George Duke. Another Sun Ra, live at Montreux. So yeah, 2 LP set on Inner City. So it's Sun Ra doing his thing, of course. But some tracks are really straight sounding, like big band sort of swing sounding at times, but excellent. Really happy to score this. Beautiful shape. I mean, the cover's got its issues, but happy to get that. What else we got here? An original to replace a reissue of The Art Ensemble of Chicago. Reese and the Smooth Ones, actual number 29. Beautiful original copy of that. So, yeah, happy to get that one. It's a good one. And this one I've wanted for a while, either a reissue, which I never see, or an original. Thankfully, I found an original. When you talk free jazz now, this is just balls to the wall, really intense free jazz. Not everyday listening, but Dave Burrell with Echo. An original pressing of this. 2 tracks, 2 compositions. The first side is called Echo. The second side is called Peace. As you can imagine, the second side is a bit more peaceful. Maybe a little bit easier on the ears, but that first side is just, real out there and intense, and but still an interesting piece. This also features Greckin Moncor III, Alan Silva, and Archie Shepp. What's going on here? Okay, but yeah, cool find. This one is, these next two are actually still sealed. I haven't gotten around to listen to them yet, but they're not going to stay sealed. An original still sealed of For Sale by Love from 1969. As you can see, it was marked 44 cents. Nobody bought it, so it was marked down then to 11 cents. But yeah, it has a saw cut there, but still sealed. And this one too. Yeah, still sealed. I checked it out online. Shades of Joy. So this is sort of a Latin jazz funk sort of thing. I believe from like 1969. It's on the Fontana label. Yeah, I mean, still sealed. I mean, Christ. But I'm definitely going to open this one up. This is an interesting coincidence. Scott Mays, if you watch this, Scott had posted this record online, and I commented and said, "Oh, I have the reissue." Excuse me. And literally a day or two later, my local store contacted me and said, "We have this. Are you interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, for $10, an original pressing of Brazil, Songs of Protest by Zélia Barbosa." So yeah, she's singing Brazilian folk music, for lack of a better term, like really sort of depressing. When you read the translations of the lyrics, there's songs about the Brazilian, like, sort of downtrodden, poor farmers and things like that. But it's a beautiful record, and she is just incredible. But yeah, nice original for $10. Very cool. Last few here. An original copy of Sister by Sonic Youth on SST. Yes, it has the Disneyland photograph and the photograph of the little girl there, both of which were removed, I believe, on almost all subsequent pressings, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, near mint. This thing's like beautiful on SST. Excellent. What else? Last couple. This is one I've wanted for a while. I've just never seen it. But Family, Music from a Doll's House. White label promo on Reprise. So this is a psychedelic classic. Like, it really is. Their best album, in my opinion. I think a lot of people probably feel that way. But yeah, it's like a must in any sort of psych collection, early prog. Just, U.S. press. Incredible. Last two here. Another original Blue Note, Hot Dog by Lou Donaldson. So yeah, this is soul jazz, like keyboard heavy soul jazz. Charles Earland on the keyboards, and of course Lou Donaldson plays alto sax. But the guitarist Melvin Sparks, wow, great guitar playing on here. But yeah, an original Blue Note pressing of this, like, has a price tag, but a little bit of ring wear there. But yeah, I mean, can't pass it up. The vinyl is beautiful, so happy to score that. And finally, the last thing here. Finally found a copy of the Cocteau Twins with Treasure. Never pressed in the U.S. to my knowledge, so it's hard to come across in the U.S. But finally found it. Excellent. Sort of classic on 4AD, UK pressing. Beautiful. So yeah, those are my finds for now, guys. But I will be back soon, and I just have some incredible stuff coming, I gotta tell you. But anyway. Thank you for watching. I feel out of practice, of course, so, I hope you made it through. Leave some comments, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.